Friends, we are back in our third week of our series, Exiled. The first week we talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the importance of community, and how there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God. The second week, we talked about Daniel and how that story teaches us that we don't have to give in to peer pressure. And today, we are going to talk about Queen Esther. The book of Esther is in the Old Testament, and it's all about the story of, you guessed it, Esther. Esther was a part of the Persian exile. The Persians came in and exiled the Babylonians and Jewish people, and now were in charge. Xerxes was the king and was looking for a new wife, and Esther was a Jewish girl who lived in the country and was chosen. But Esther didn't tell the king about her background, and he had no idea that she was Jewish. So one of Xerxes' advisors convinced him that because the Jewish people were so different, they needed to be destroyed. Esther's uncle was really upset about this, and so was Esther. But Esther felt helpless, because if the king didn't invite her to talk to him, she wasn't allowed to talk to him. And she hadn't seen him in a month, so she couldn't even help. I imagine that Esther felt hopeless and afraid, and like there was nothing she could do to save her people. But her uncle Mordecai said these words to her: "Maybe it was for a moment like this that you came to be a part of the royal family." This encouraged Esther. Maybe Esther was supposed to use her place of influence to save the rest of the Jewish people. So she invited people to focus on God for 3 days of fasting, which means not eating for 3 days, and 3 days of praying. She and her friends and family spent 3 whole days talking to God about this exact situation, because Esther knew that we can talk to God about anything. And then finally, Esther approached the king. It was risky though, because she could have gone up to the king and he could have refused her or gotten angry with her, because she wasn't supposed to approach the king unless he specifically called for her. But Mordecai's words must have inspired and encouraged her, and Esther took a courageous step forward, using her influence to hopefully save her people. And it worked. After she approached the king, she offered him 2 feasts before she asked him to save her people. And he was willing. There are times in our lives where things can be scary or overwhelming, where it seems like we are stuck or helpless. But what we can learn from Esther is that no matter what situation we are in, we can talk to God about it, and we can choose to take a step forward.